12 Stoic lessons that will immediately transform your life. You have spent too long trying to control everything around you while ignoring the one thing that truly matters, your own mind. Stoicism does not ask you to erase your emotions, it teaches you to rise above them, to feel them without becoming them. You are not here to be shaken by every opinion or setback. You are here to become immovable, unshaken, clear. Life will not always be fair, people will not always understand you, and things will often fall apart without reason. But what Stoicism gives you is the strength to face it all with calm, the discipline to hold the line when the world pulls you in every direction. These 12 lessons are not just ideas, they are a code. A way to live with purpose, without needing praise. A way to stand in your truth, even when the world demands that you fold. If you are ready to stop being reactive and start being intentional, if you are ready to replace chaos with calm, noise with clarity, then this is where your transformation begins. Lesson 1. Stop chasing validation. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you begin to live with true power. When your happiness, your confidence, or your sense of self depends on how others respond to you, you are not living freely. You are performing. Every compliment becomes a lifeline. Every like, every nod, every text reply becomes a measure of your worth. But the deeper truth is this. No one can give you the approval you are starving for if you have not already accepted yourself. Stoicism does not teach you to become cold. It teaches you to become grounded. To find your identity not in the shifting opinions of others, but in the unshakable truth of your character. You were not born to be a people pleaser. You were not made to chase applause like a dog chases a treat. You were meant to act with virtue, to do what is right even when no one is watching, and to be proud of that. Because here is what happens when you stop chasing validation. You become dangerous. Not because you threaten others, but because you no longer depend on them. You no longer need the outside world to reflect your value back to you. That is the kind of strength most people never tap into. They walk through life like mirrors, only seeing themselves in other people's eyes. But you become a mountain. Unmoved by storms, unshaken by praise or criticism. You rise above it. You begin to do things because they are right, not because they are popular. You speak your truth even if your voice shakes. You show up for yourself even if nobody claps. And the paradox is, when you stop needing validation, you start receiving respect. People feel it. They sense that you are rooted. That you are not here to be liked. You are here to live with intention. You are here to serve your higher self. When others try to manipulate you with approval or withhold love to control you, their power vanishes. Because you are no longer chasing anything. You are already home within yourself. Lesson 3. Let go of what you can't control. You are wasting your life trying to fix things that were never in your hands. The weather, people's opinions, the past, the future, how others treat you, how long they stay, how fast time moves, none of it belongs to you. Yet that is where most of your energy goes. You obsess, you replay, you predict, you beg life to make sense. But all you create is more suffering. The Stoics were clear. Your power lies in your choices, not your circumstances. You cannot control the waves, but you can learn to sail. You cannot stop the storm, but you can choose how you stand in it. If someone disrespects you, you cannot force their respect, but you can decide if you engage, if you explain, if you stay. If something painful happens, you cannot undo it, but you can decide if it defines you, if it destroys you, or if it sharpens you. This is the core of Stoicism, radical acceptance of what is, and unwavering control over how you respond. Once you learn this, peace becomes possible. You stop overthinking. You stop blaming. You stop trying to control everyone and everything. You focus on your attitude, your values, your actions. And life starts to shift. You become lighter, calmer, stronger. You walk into chaos and remain calm because you no longer expect the world to bend to your will. You bend yourself. You become water, adaptable, unshakable, clear. When you let go of control, you regain energy. You stop draining yourself over things you cannot change. That energy flows back into your body, into your mind, into your growth. People will notice. You will no longer be easily rattled. You will smile when others panic. You will walk away when others beg. You will sleep in peace while others drown in noise. Not because life is perfect, but because you have made peace with the fact that it never will be. Letting go is not giving up. It is rising up. It is choosing what matters. It is remembering where your power begins and where it ends. Lesson 4. Your thoughts are not always truth. You think something and you believe it. That's the trap. You assume every thought that enters your mind is a fact, a reflection of reality, a mirror of who you are. But it's not. Most of your thoughts are noise. They come from fear, from pain, from old wounds you never healed. You tell yourself you're not good enough. That you're too late. That they're all judging you. That success is impossible. That love will never stay. And then you live as if it's all true. You shrink. You hold back. You self-sabotage. You avoid chances that could change your life. But the Stoics knew better. Epictetus said it clearly, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Your mind is powerful, but it's not always accurate. It runs on emotion, memory, bias, and fear. It will show you threats where none exist. It will magnify the negative and minimize the good. And unless you learn to step back and question it, it will rule you. You must become the observer. See the thought, but don't obey it. Watch it rise and fall without letting it dictate your next move. Ask yourself, is this useful? Is this kind? Is this true? If not, let it go. Replace it with something better. Something grounded. Something wise. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. You can shape what stays. You can challenge the lies. You can build a mindset that works for you, not against you. And over time, that becomes your superpower. When others spiral, you stay grounded. When self-doubt whispers, you smile and move forward anyway. When fear knocks, you don't answer. Because you've trained your mind to serve you, not scare you. The battle is always within. And the weapon is always awareness. Learn to hold space between what you think and what you believe. That is where your freedom lives. That is where transformation begins. Lesson 5. Take the pain, don't run from it. Pain is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher, your sharpest mirror, your most honest friend. But most people spend their whole lives running from it. They numb it with distractions, hide from it in fake smiles, bury it under addictions and shallow conversations. The Stoic path demands the opposite. It demands that you walk into the fire, not away from it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every day, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That means pain is not a block. It is the path. Every wound, every heartbreak, every moment of doubt is an invitation. Not to suffer endlessly, but to grow. To sit with the discomfort and listen to what it is trying to tell you. Pain reveals where you are weak. It shows you where you are still attached, still afraid, still controlled by ego or desire. And when you stop running, when you face it head on, you begin to strip all that away. You become clean. Sharper. Real. You realize that pain is part of life, and avoiding it only makes you soft. But leaning into it makes you powerful. Because once you have suffered and stayed standing, once you have cried and kept moving, once you have broken and rebuilt yourself, you become unbreakable. No one can manipulate you with fear. No failure can paralyze you. No rejection can ruin you. You have already walked through hell. And you found out it did not kill you. It woke you up. It lit a fire that comfort could never ignite. That is the secret. Every moment of pain has purpose. If you are willing to sit with it, breathe through it, and ask, what is this here to teach me? So take the pain. Let it sharpen you. Let it humble you. Let it prepare you for the life you were meant to lead. Stop hiding. Stop running. The fastest way out is always through. Lesson 6. Choose peace over drama. The world is loud, chaotic, and constantly pulling you into its noise. Every day, someone is trying to provoke you, someone is trying to test your patience, someone is trying to drag you into their emotional mess. And the truth is, you can either rise above it or be consumed by it. Most people choose the second. They get offended easily. They argue just to feel heard. They respond to every insult, every disrespect, every ounce of drama thrown their way. But you must be different. You must choose peace, not because you are weak, but because you are powerful enough to walk away. Peace is not passivity. It is restraint. It is the ability to control your emotions when everyone else is losing theirs. When someone tries to provoke you and you remain calm, that is power. When someone disrespects you and you respond with silence, that is mastery. When someone throws shade and you simply keep walking, that is growth. The Stoics believe that real strength lies in what you do not react to. And the more reactive you are, the more control others have over you. Every time you let someone pull you into their storm, you abandon your center. You let them dictate your emotions. You let them rent space in your mind. But you were not born to be a puppet of drama. You were born to command your presence, to lead your emotions, to build a life that is untouched by petty conflict. There is a certain energy that comes with drama. It is loud, it is seductive, and it feels important. But in the end, it leaves you drained, distracted, and disconnected from your purpose. Peace, on the other hand, is quiet. It is still. It is unshakable. It gives you space to think, to breathe, to create. Choosing peace means you are focused on what matters. You do not waste time arguing with people who do not matter. You do not seek validation through confrontation. You do not explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Let them misunderstand. Let them gossip. Let them spin their narratives. You stay calm. You stay grounded. You stay focused on your path. Because peace is not just a feeling. It is a lifestyle. It is a daily decision. And when you make it over and over again, something inside you shifts. You start to glow differently. You move with confidence. You speak less and mean more. You do not chase approval because your peace is your validation. So the next time someone tries to pull you into drama, smile. Not because you are afraid of the fight, but because you are above it. That is what it means to be truly powerful. That is the Stoic way. That is how you win. Quietly. Calmly. Consistently. And completely. Lesson 7. Speak less, watch more. In a world obsessed with speaking, shouting, and constantly being heard, the wisest thing you can do is become an observer. Silence is not weakness. Silence is a strategy. And those who know how to watch, how to read the room, how to study people before opening their mouth, they move with precision. The person who always talks first often reveals their ignorance. But the one who waits, who listens, who watches carefully before speaking, holds the true power. This is not about being passive. It is about being intentional. When you speak too soon, you expose your emotions. You reveal your weaknesses. You give away your power. But when you watch more, you learn. You notice things others miss. You pick up on tone, on body language, on the subtle shifts in energy that most people ignore. The Stoics believed in mastering your impulses, and one of the strongest impulses we all have is the need to respond. But silence is the ultimate resistance. The ultimate filter. Not everyone deserves a reply. Not every insult requires your defense. Not every conversation needs your input. Speak only when your words will improve the silence. Because every time you speak out of ego, out of fear, out of the need to prove yourself, you lose a piece of your composure. You lose your edge. You begin reacting instead of observing. And in that moment, you give others the blueprint to control you. But when you hold your words, when you choose presence over performance, people notice. They lean in. They wonder what you are thinking. You become unpredictable. You become respected. The man or woman of few words is often the one people listen to the most. That is the paradox. It is not about being loud. It is about being impactful. Say less and mean more. Every word becomes sharper. Every statement more deliberate. And in a world where everyone is shouting, your calm voice becomes thunder. So slow down. Watch how people behave when they think no one is noticing. Listen to the pauses in their stories. Study their patterns. Learn their intentions. Let silence be your armor. Let it be your teacher. Because the ones who speak the least often understand the most. And those who understand the most can see things coming before anyone else does. That is not just wisdom. That is a weapon. So keep watching. Keep listening. Speak only when it is time to say something that truly matters. That is how you protect your peace. That is how you rise in power. That is how you move through the world like a Stoic, calm and unreadable, yet fully aware. Lesson 8. Stop reacting, start observing. The difference between someone who loses their mind and someone who stays composed lies in one powerful choice. Observation over reaction. The world will test you every single day. People will poke at your triggers, situations will push your buttons, and chaos will try to pull you into its current. But the Stoic path demands that you do not bite. That you do not flinch. That you do not hand over your peace just because something unexpected happens. Reactions are instinctual, but observation is deliberate. When you react, you operate from emotion. From fear. From ego. You let someone else's behavior decide your mood. But when you observe, you switch to a higher mode of awareness. You study the situation. You pause. You breathe. You ask yourself what matters most. Is it this moment or your long-term peace? Is it proving a point or preserving your energy? This lesson will change your life if you let it. Because once you stop reacting, people lose control over you. You start seeing their games. You watch them attempt to bait you with insults or drama, but it no longer sticks. You become immune. You begin to master your own energy. The strongest person in the room is not the loudest one. It is the one who sees everything and still chooses peace. That kind of control makes you powerful. Because now, you are not responding to life blindly. You are responding with wisdom. With clarity. With purpose. The Stoics taught that you cannot control external events, but you can always control your response. And the greatest response is to observe. Do not react to every opinion. Do not respond to every challenge. Let people expose themselves while you stay rooted. While you study. While you grow. You do not need to correct every lie told about you. You do not need to attend every argument you are invited to. You are not obligated to explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Observation gives you that distance. That clarity. That power. It allows you to see people for who they are, not who they pretend to be. It teaches you what to avoid, what to pursue, what to ignore. In time, you will notice the shift. Life will slow down. You will hear what others miss. See what others are blind to. And most importantly, you will remain unshaken. Because your peace is not negotiable anymore. You are no longer a puppet reacting to the strings others pull. You have become the observer. Calm, aware, powerful. And that, in the Stoic path, is everything. Lesson 9. Never beg to be chosen. There is a moment in every strong person's life when they stop chasing, stop pleading, stop explaining, and simply walk away. That moment is not born from arrogance. It is born from dignity. The Stoics believed that self-respect is the foundation of inner peace, and nothing drains that peace faster than begging for what should be freely given. If someone cannot see your value, that is not your burden to fix. It is not your duty to convince, to persuade, to shrink yourself just to fit into someone else's comfort. You were not made to audition for someone's attention. You were not created to constantly prove your worth to people who treat you like an option. You are not a backup plan. You are not a second thought. And the more you chase people who are unsure about you, the further you drift from your own soul. Think about this. Every time you beg to be chosen, you abandon a piece of your self-respect. You send a message to yourself that you are not enough on your own. But you are. The people meant for you will recognize you without needing to be convinced. The relationships that are true will feel mutual. No pushing. No chasing. Just presence. Just flow. A Stoic does not cling to what is not theirs. A Stoic lets go when the energy is no longer right. When the effort feels one-sided. When the silence grows louder than the words. You are allowed to want love, respect, recognition. But you are never meant to beg for it. Because begging pulls you into desperation, and desperation clouds your judgment. It blinds you to red flags. It makes you accept crumbs. And that is not what you were built for. You are built for something deeper. Something steadier. Something that respects your essence. And here is the hard truth. The moment you stop begging is the moment the world begins to respect you. The moment you choose to walk alone rather than be tolerated is the moment your energy shifts. You start attracting people who meet you where you are, not where they want to drag you. You start living from abundance, not scarcity. You learn to enjoy your own company, to validate your own presence, to move without needing applause. And when you do that, you become powerful. Because you are no longer waiting for permission to be whole. You have chosen yourself. And in the Stoic world, that is the highest victory. So remember this always. Never beg to be chosen. Never beg to stay. If they cannot see you, it is their loss. If they let you go, it is their regret. You will be fine. More than fine. You will thrive. And you will do it with silence, with grace, and with your head held high. Lesson 10. Time is the real currency. You might think money is your greatest asset. You might think opportunities, possessions, or even status hold the key to a meaningful life. But the Stoics would quietly shake their heads. They knew something most people overlook until it is too late. Time is your true wealth. Every second you waste cannot be earned back. You can rebuild fortune. You can regain strength. You can even recover lost relationships. But the moment you trade your time for something meaningless, that moment is gone forever. In a world obsessed with productivity and achievement, we often forget that being busy is not the same as being wise. You can fill every hour of your day and still end up empty. You can chase every goal and still feel unfulfilled. That is because it is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Ask yourself this. Where is your time really going? Into people who drain you? Into routines that dull your spirit? Into arguments that lead nowhere? If so, you are not poor in money. You are poor in presence. The Stoics believe that every day is a life in miniature. You wake. You live. You sleep. Repeat. So how are you living these tiny lives? Are you conscious? Or are you just passing time, hoping something will change without your effort? Real power begins when you treat time as sacred. When you guard your hours like treasures. When you stop giving your minutes away to things and people who don't deserve them. You are not obligated to answer every message. You are not required to fill your calendar to prove your worth. You have the right to slow down, to breathe, to choose peace over chaos. When you shift your thinking from time as something infinite to time as something sacred, everything changes. You begin to live on purpose. You stop postponing your peace. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it. You begin to see each morning as a gift, not a burden. Each interaction as a choice, not a demand. You start saying no without guilt and yes without fear. Because you finally understand. Every time you say yes to something unworthy, you are saying no to something beautiful. You cannot be everything to everyone. But you can be fully yourself in the moments that count. And those are the only moments that matter. So protect your time. Respect it. Use it to build, to grow, to heal, to rest. Because in the end, it will not be the money or trophies you remember. It will be how you spent your time. And whether you spent it becoming who you were meant to be. Lesson 11. Control desires, master life. Every craving you give in to owns a piece of you. Every impulse that pulls you away from calm, steals your strength. The Stoics understood this with brutal clarity. Desire, unchecked, becomes a chain. It wraps around your choices. It blinds your reason. It makes you chase things that offer only temporary relief, never true peace. And the more you indulge, the more restless you become. You want more. You need more. But you never feel full. Because desire has no finish line. It always whispers one more. One more scroll. One more like. One more hit of attention. One more person to impress. And in that chase, you forget yourself. You forget the stillness inside. You forget what it feels like to be in control. The Stoic path is not about killing desire. It is about mastering it. When you feel the urge rise, do not act. Observe. Pause. Ask yourself, does this serve me, or does it rule me? Does this bring me closer to the person I want to be, or is it pulling me away? The power lies in that moment of choice. That tiny space between want and reaction. That is where freedom lives. Most people are slaves to their cravings. They eat without hunger. They speak without purpose. They scroll without thought. They live in a fog of needing, never stopping to question why. But you can be different. You can slow down. You can feel the craving without being consumed by it. You can say no, and smile at the strength it takes. That strength, that clarity, builds character. It sharpens your mind. It quiets your chaos. When you control desire, you no longer chase. You attract. You no longer beg. You choose. You become rooted in what matters, not in what tempts. You move from reaction to intention. And from there, life becomes yours again. Not dictated by marketing, or trends, or peer pressure. But by your own values. Your own inner compass. That is Stoic mastery. That is how you become untouchable. Lesson 12. The world owes you nothing. You were not promised comfort. You were not promised fairness. You were not promised love, recognition, or ease. And the sooner you accept that, the stronger you become. The world does not owe you happiness. It does not owe you kindness. It does not owe you an apology for your pain. It simply exists, wild and indifferent, moving with its own rhythm. And your strength, your peace, will come not from demanding more from it, but from demanding more from yourself. The Stoics knew this truth deeply. They did not cry out when life was harsh. They did not shake their fists at the sky. They trained themselves to endure, to adapt, to rise, even when the world did not make sense. That is real power. When you stop expecting the world to give you things, you start creating your own outcomes. You stop playing the victim. You stop waiting. And you begin doing. You show up. You get stronger. You become the one who gives, not just the one who waits to receive. Because if you go through life expecting fairness, you will be bitter. You will be fragile. You will feel robbed every time life says no. But when you expect nothing, everything you receive becomes a gift. Every opportunity becomes a privilege. Every challenge becomes a test of your character. The world owes you nothing, and that is a gift. It means you are free. Free to build, to grow, to earn your place with grit and grace. You do not wait for things to be handed to you. You rise. You take ownership. You shape your own fate. And that mindset, that unbreakable spirit, is what separates the weak from the truly resilient. You cannot control what the world does, but you can control your response. And when you stop asking for an easier path and start asking for a stronger back, you begin to see the truth. You owe yourself everything. And that is more than enough. Outro. You are no longer the same. After embracing these 12 Stoic lessons, a shift has begun within you. The world may still be loud, chaotic, and uncertain, but you are grounded now. Not by accident, but by choice. Each principle you have taken in, from letting go of validation to mastering your desires, is not just a thought. It is a weapon forged in the quiet fires of discipline. This is not the path of most people. This is the path of the few who refuse to be ruled by impulse, who do not beg the world to treat them fairly, but instead rise with calm strength every single day. These lessons are not meant to sit as quotes on your wall. They are meant to live inside you, speak through your actions, and shape the way you respond to every trial. You were born with the potential for greatness. Stoicism gives you the clarity and the calm to access it. Now it is your time. Your time to walk with dignity, to speak with intent, to move through this world with unshakable purpose. The world owes you nothing, and that is your greatest power. Stay focused. Stay steady. Stay wise. And as always, stay stoic and build your stoic legacy.